Is this live already so I can talk into it?
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us here on SUV TV. I'm Marcus Burnett, joined by Spencer Pulliam. And Spencer, we're at a very bittersweet part of the weekend. This annual CP3 Rising Stars and Dunk Dog All-American festivity weekend is coming to a close. But I imagine that could possibly be a good thing for you, given all of the hats you've had to wear over the past couple days.
Thanks for having me, Marcus. It has been a busy summer. The 2014 camp is about in the books, but it's been another great 2 days of competition here in North Carolina at Forsyth Country Day School, and this is the culmination of what all these kids have worked hard for. It's a nice close to the middle school chapter for them as they head to high school.
Now, we got to mention it. I thought it was a very sincere and thought-out move to be able to honor Terrell Coleman before starting the festivities here today. Just kind of summarize that moment for you.
Absolutely. So, Terrell obviously was a Dunk Dog All-American last year. We were absolutely shocked by the news we got last October. Very saddening. And to have his parents here tonight, it just shows, how committed they were to their son, how much they love their son. And again, he'll be dearly missed, but this is a great honor in his memory from the dunk contest, which he competed in, to the Dunk Dog All-American game here that he also played in. So again, Miller Grove lost a great person and a great player last year with Terrell Coleman, but we're very glad and fortunate that his parents are here tonight with us. So Mike Drum with us now from the CP3 Rising Stars camp, the camp director. And Mike, thanks for jumping on the broadcast with us here for our viewers at home.
Spencer, thanks a lot for having me, man. I tell you what, there is a lot of talent on the court right now. The dunk contest, something I definitely could never go out and perform in, man. Just been a great weekend, a lot of highlights. Excited to see these guys come together in a great event in the Dunk Dog All-American game.
Well, take us back a little bit. Obviously, second year of camp. This is something that you put together as kind of your brainchild, and to see it, kind of take this vision and run with it, and here we are 2 years later with one of the best youth basketball events in the country. Kind of walk us through the process of how all this started.
Yeah, 5 years ago we started the CP3 Skill Academy.
Look at that.
Wow,
big
impressive.
Dunk
big
from
Nazi.
Reed on the break there.
Yeah, so we ended up 5 years ago starting the Skill Academy, and everybody laughed at us and didn't know why we were doing it. And now you've got LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant. Every single top guy in the NBA right now has Skill Academy. So, Chris just went to his bank and thought, what else could he provide that he didn't have for kids, growing up? And that was a great organized event, bringing all the best talent under one roof and having all the scouting services and all the visibility for those guys. So obviously that's where Dunk Dog comes in, because you guys are the best in the United States in youth scouting service. So it made a lot of sense for us just with the partnership.
Absolutely, and obviously we're honored and excited to be here again this year, and the collection of talent, again, very strong. We talked about last year the two 10-man rosters between the 10 men. 63 of them at the culmination of the high school season. They had 63 scholarship offers between the 10 of them, and obviously those guys went into the April period and into the July period and picked up even more. And then, it was nice to see the televised Peach Jam to have CP3 Rising Stars camp so well represented on ESPN. You had 3 of the 4 teams with players. PJ Washington was in camp last year for Team Penny, played at the Peach Jam semifinals. You had Matt Coleman, the starting point guard as a freshman, out of Norfolk Maury for the Boo Williams 17 under program. Then we watched Trayvon Duvall with the players. And again, those 3 guys, oddly enough, Matt Coleman and Trayvon were in the game, and PJ was one of the snubs and now rated as a top 5 ESPN player after playing in the CP3 Rising Stars top 20 game. So how about that? I mean, the collection of talent just beyond this game. This is just a a small reflection of the talent that was on the court again this year.
P.J. Washington had a terrific year in the in the AYBL, and it's kind of amazing that he, finished the top 20, and from everything I saw, was one of the top performers in the 2017 class. And what was even better, Spence, just to see Matt Coleman come back and spend this year with us and talk about all the memories that he took with him, all the lessons he learned, and just through his experience this year.
A lot of guys in the gym this weekend. Obviously, Matt's younger brother Chase was in the top 20 2019 game that we saw earlier. But then, again, you had Chris come back to the camp today and address the guys, and I'll let you talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But, Justin Gray, one of your Wake Forest teammates in the gym, Alfred Payton, who was just a lottery pick, number 10 pick, came through to hang out with the guys. So players from all levels, high school basketball, college basketball, the NBA, then you've got the next generation here. What a weekend.
It really was. It's great to, see Chris come back, get in the gym with these guys, and just talk about all his experiences. And one that, he was never as good as these guys whenever he was coming up in this, 8th, 9th grade. And just to hear all the life lessons and, how he takes care of his body, how, he thinks about academics, how he thinks about game preparation in season and out of season. Just so many lessons from, the best point guard, obviously in the world right now.
No,
so,
absolutely.
These guys just eat it up. I mean, you saw their faces, you saw how they were taking it in. So it's a big weekend, not only from the talent perspective, but just, when a guy like that coming back in, giving his time to these kids and really dropping them with some knowledge.
Sure. And while everybody's watching, let's focus a little bit on this 2018 group that's on the floor now. We'll start with the point guards. Obviously, you've got Elijah Hardy there with the ball, and you've got Damon Harge in this game, Javon Quinterly in this game. A lot of the top point guards in the 2018 class, names we're going to be hearing and reading a lot about over the next 4 years. In that group, where do you want to start? Pick one, and let's kind of run down the list.
I want to start one that I think is a little underrated right now, but tell me just a little bit about Jonathan Kabongo. I know he's got it in his blood, the point guard gene. He was really exciting, one of those longer point guards from Canada that came in this weekend. So just give me a little bit of update on his scouting report.
Sure, like you said, obviously another Canadian kid, younger brother Mick Kabongo, who everybody remembers from Texas, who was a McDonald's All-American a few years ago. Interestingly enough, Kabongo's coming stateside as a freshman. He'll be at Huntington Prep this year, and that Rob Fulford's moved on to Missouri, so Arkel Baruch's taking over the reins at Huntington Prep, and he's got a great freshman point guard that he can mold over the next 4 years with Jonathan Kabongo coming in. So he's an exciting young player, and he's really spurted. He's already got older brother beat. He's every bit of 6'2" now. He's really spurted over the last year, so he's got great size. Obviously that burst in transition that a lot of college coaches like, and again, just another talented, exciting player that's going to be fun to watch develop over the next 4 years.
Yeah, Kabongo's number 9 in the white right now. He's handling the ball. He's got the thing on a string coming up. Cartier Gordon actually with the drop step on the other end. He's been an impressive big man this weekend as well. I think one of the hottest names coming into this camp, Spence, would be Damon Harge. He's number 8 on white that they'll see a little bit later. But just give me a little bit of your thoughts on Damon and how he's showing up this weekend.
Good. And big dunk there by Isaiah Kelly out of Georgia. We'll talk a little bit more about him. But sure, Harge is a guy, as an evaluator, everybody has their preferences. Obviously, everything's very subjective and opinionated. And I'm hardest on little guards. So, I think coming into the camp, we talked about guys that were potential locks for the game. And quite honestly, Harge wasn't on that list.
You're exactly right.
And this is a guy who's, very touted, obviously, in that YouTube generation of the quote-unquote YouTube sensations. Had a great year as an 8th grader, played varsity Orlando Christian Prep. They were undefeated up until December at the Montverde Invitational. They actually broke into the USA Today top 25 rankings, and they, had an 8th grader starting for them. So that alone was very impressive. And, Harge is starting to prove, I think he's more than a YouTube sensation. Obviously long-term, you want to talk about upside with a young man like that. And frame maybe a bit of concern, but he's got the quick twitch, he's got the court vision, and again, he earned his way into this game this year, and so for these 2 days, he was one of the top 20 players here, if not a little better, and left his mark on this event in 2014.
Nice pass there from Will Dillard, number 4, throwing it down to Muhammad, big Muhammad out of Georgia, number 0. It's an interesting story from Muhammad, just that he just coming off 2 back-to-back national championships with Georgia United. This kid has really progressed over the past 2 years. Tell me what you've seen from him. Nice shot right there by Emmett Williams, number 2.
Yep, buzzer beater, nice little stretch 4 out of Fort Myers. Emmett Williams played with Florida Phenoms on the circuit. He's headed to Lehigh High School in Fort Myers this fall. So, exciting young player. And again, Central Florida, Orlando area turns out a lot of players. You think about Montverde being there, but Fort Myers doesn't get a whole lot of recognition, and he's a kid that can bring a lot of recognition to the Fort Myers area over the next 4 years. Similar to Ricky Dole, this year he's headed to Michigan, one of the few high major guys out of the Fort Myers area in Florida. So, again, talking about some of these guards out here, I think that Elijah Hardy is a guy that everybody wanted to see. Real smooth, flashy lefty out of California. He'll play this year as a freshman at Bishop O'Dowd with Ivan Rabb, who's one of the top 2015 players. Obviously a lot pretty much at this point to be an All-American. So when you think about Elijah Hardy, he's another guy that had a lot of hype in terms of the mixtapes and such, and really came in this week as a basketball player and showed off quite a bit, showed his full skill set. So he's a guy that I like on the court. And then Quinterly, I know you got a good look at him right here with the ball. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts about number 5 in black, Javon Quinterly, who was with that IZOD team this year.
I tell you what, since I've come up with the best point guard in the world, Chris Paul, Javon Quinterly reminds me a ton of him. He's a great floor leader. He knows when to pass. He knows when to shoot. Not only can he, do all those, but he knows the right timing to do it. Gives the ball up early to his wings running in transition. He's just a great distributor. Can knock down the open shot. Although he's a quiet leader, he does lead by example. But I tell you what, he is a jet up the court, man.
Absolutely. And Quinterly, when we talk about high school guys and what translates to college, there's going to be some question marks around Quinterly again because of his stature. He's not especially tall. He's not especially strong right now. But again, he's just a freshman. But I think he's got a lot of intangibles that translate for the next level. You can't duplicate the type of toughness, competitiveness that he brings to the floor, as you said, similar to the camp and, the namesake of the camp here. And Chris Paul. So Quinterly's got a ton of intangibles that will bode very well for him. There's a little flash from him right there in the open court. So
nice job by Quinterly.
Absolutely. And he's a guy right now that's more of a scorer from the lead guard position, but I love a guy that shows he can already knock down shots from the point guard standpoint. He'll have to become a little bit more of a facilitator and understand, how to become a distributor, but he's got a ton of tools, and even despite his size, I think he's a guy that's going to play at a very, very high level.
Yeah, you mentioned size. One guy that I really like that you probably just off the look test.
Everybody playing above the rim tonight.
They are. I have to stop every single time I see dunks like that.
And that was Shitu, one in black out of Canada, Simi Shitu. Obviously had a great year. Him and Kabongo both, you can expect to see them in that Canadian Olympic program, which they're already a part of. And we're going to be, USA may be in some trouble in a couple years. We need to start scouting these guys now.
We definitely do. There's Quinterly with another 2. But talking about, the bigger point guards, tell me just a little bit about Cam Reddish. I saw him this weekend. He steps on the floor looking like a wing guard, standing 6'5", 6'6", bigger guard, but he's got just great burst of speed, controls the floor, reads ball screens exceptionally well for his age.
Absolutely, a lot of size out there. Again, Reddish is a combo guard, wearing number 5 in white. He's a guy that's out of that team final organization. So, you talk about players, team finals, that's all they produce is seemingly pros. So you talk about Tyreek Evans kind of started it. Deion Waiters continued it. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, just to name a few guys that have come out of that program in recent years. And Reddish could be special. I think something that really we learned about him here this week at CP3 Rising Stars is his aggressiveness. He's a guy that has not always looked to score, has been, a little bit lackadaisical in terms of his offensive aggressiveness, and he was absolutely aggressive this week. So, that's personally what I learned about him, and that's only going to help his stock from the Philly guy.
It will. It definitely will. We saw a little bit of Damon Harsh. Here's Elijah Hardy, number 8, with the ball. Connor Vanover, I tell you what, I know you're loving the guards right now, but whenever you watch him off the pick and roll, he's not necessarily a guy that's going to roll to the basket all the time. He's more of a pop, 5-man, stretch 4-man. Shot it exceptionally well this weekend, man. I've been very, very impressed with him.
Absolutely. Connor's received a lot of national attention lately, even from the mainstream media. I think, obviously Ty Kish, City League Hoops put up that great highlight of him.
Yeah.
And it went viral. We saw him on ESPN, SportsCenter, PTI did a little segment on him. But when you think about Connor, you're obviously talking about he's 7'1" right now. So physically, in terms of his strength and conditioning, he's going to be a little bit behind. But for a 7'1" guy to move those size 20 shoes up and down the court and have that type of fluidity, and there you go. That soft touch, though, is exactly what we're talking about. The ability to stretch and be active around the rim. He's got some toughness to him, too. He may be thin, but he's definitely a guy that's competitive, and he's got a little toughness to him. So Connor Vanover, Little Rock, Arkansas, he's going to be a guy we're hearing about, and you know, don't be afraid of those Rick Smits comparisons being thrown his way either.
That's very true. I actually like that comparison. Nice and one there by Nazi Reed. Nazi, I tell you what, whenever the kid plays hard, he is the best athlete in the gym, maybe in the nation right now. Plays above the rim. He's also shown glimpses of just being able to put it on the floor, you know, kind of take it off the rim and push it on the break. What do you think about Nazi? Obviously back-to-back, you know, playing in AAU national championships, just coming up short. But he's been pretty impressive this weekend.
Asbury Park, New Jersey native, unbelievable talent. And as you said, the maturation process for Nazi is going to be very important. Wow, big one from Robert Woodard there on the break out of Mississippi, wearing number 4 in white. But Nazi's headed to Roselle Catholic this fall. Again, New Jersey's throwing out a lot of talent lately. Obviously, we've got 4 guys from the Team IZOD program in this game, so that just speaks to the type of talent that's coming out of New Jersey. You know, in the Under Armour final, Team IZOD lost to We Are One out of Delaware.
Yeah.
So this two teams from the Northeast on the 17 under level. You know, they're just loaded top to bottom right now in the Northeast, and Nazi's a national name that is going to continue that trend in the next few years.
Speaking of New Jersey native, there's a Tiba Taylor, number 7 in white with a long-range 3. You know, not a guy that's shot it exceptionally well, I'd say, this year, but I think he has this weekend at camp. He's stepped up. He's knocked down the big shots whenever they've needed him to.
Absolutely. Atiba, you know, 6'3" lefty, and it's hard to believe looking at that court right now, that's a 6'3" guard out there based on all the size. But again, he and Nazi will team up at Roselle Catholic this year. So another big pickup for that program. You know, like you said, Atiba is really, for him, progression. What position is he going to be? You know, is he going to continue to grow and kind of fill the role of a point forward, or is he going to continue to, you know, develop and mature physically and develop a little bit of explosiveness and the quickness he needs to be a full-time floor general?
Nice finish there by Jonathan Kambongo with the and 1, number 9 in white.
So the development piece still to be determined from Atiba Taylor, but he's an amazing talent, and like you said, had one of the better weekends I've seen all year here for a guy that gets a lot of criticism for his jump shot, shot the ball very well, limited his turnovers, and again, you know, having stat VA on hand to kind of document that and evidence of that, I think that helped kind of push him into this game tonight.
It did. You know, we always said it, Skip Prosser, Wake Forest, always told us, you know, the numbers don't lie. And you know how long we actually spent dissecting these numbers, going through them. Whenever you get turnovers, assists, rebounds, you can really, you know, fill out a nice roster like this, all the way from point guard to center, and make sure, you know, you get those valuable guys, even if they're not scoring at a high pace, that they're bringing a lot of value to their team and that they're stat stuffers.
Absolutely. And one of the guys this weekend that I was blown away by, who had no reputation coming into camp, Robert Woodard. Wow. Columbus, Mississippi. And actually, you know, he snuck through a half day yesterday before anybody even recognized him. His team lost a big man last minute. Was a late drop from the camp. Robert Woodard had to slide to the 4 and didn't hear him complain once. This was a versatile guy who would guard the post and come back down and play on the perimeter. And it's fun to see him get to handle the ball a little bit tonight and be on the perimeter after kind of being stuck in the post this weekend because of a roster change.
Yeah, Spencer, I actually talked to a scout, and he thought Robert Woodard was obvious. He thought he was the best player at camp, or that he had proved it throughout the weekend. He's just, I mean, his body is already high school ready. He's a guy that's extremely active in and around the rim. He's had a few highlight reels this past weekend as well.
And that's number 4 in white there, Woodard, that we're talking about. Again, Columbus, Mississippi, very under the radar right now. And this is just a player that we're going to continue to talk about for the next several years. 4 years of development in Mississippi, and, you know, just a positionless guy, but he's a basketball player.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, just a glue guy. He can play any position. Like you said, he went from being the 3 to the 4, didn't complain once, guarded bigger guys. Then he'd get switched to a smaller guy, go out on the perimeter. Sort of what a, you know, big that VCU would look for, a guy that can guard the 1 through the 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And we look at this game score now at 48-39 in favor of the white team. The interesting thing, last year's game went to overtime. And something that we've talked to these guys all weekend about, particularly these last 20 guys before this game started, was being competitive and leaving it all on the floor. These guys are going to be flying home, driving home over the next 24 hours. And my guess would be they're going to be wishing they're back at camp, or they're going to be thinking, you know, these are the things that I could have done better while I was there. So we definitely want them to leave with no regrets and, you know, leave it all on the floor, because like we've talked about before, and there's Woodard, a big shot. You're seeing some of that perimeter skill we're talking about right there. But leaving it all on the floor and again, closing the chapter for middle school, getting remotivated for high school, and this camp, Mike, provides a great look at what the future holds for the 2018 class.
Here's Will Dillard with the free throw line pull-up. You know, Will obviously was the #1 play last year on SportsCenter for the CP3 Rising Stars with his windmill in the All-Star game for his class last year. Just an unbelievable athlete. He's a lefty. You know, doesn't shoot it overly well, but I tell you what, the kid has a very high motor.
And there's the first half coming to a close with the black team up 53-43 at the half. And, you know, to continue the conversation about Dillard a little bit, he's at Greensboro Day School. Freddie Johnson's the head coach there. Coached the McDonald's game in 2013, actually served as an honorary member of our board last year for the Dunk All-American game. So you know he's going to be coached. And I'll tell you what, he's being coached on defense. He's really ahead right now. Physically, he's ahead on defense. He's a guy I've been very impressed with.
Ooh, boy, those things are hot. It's so hard to watch a game. It's all And we're back at the Dunk Dog All-American game. Second half starting up. Scores 54 for the home team, 43 for the guests. You have Elijah Hardy handling the ball up top, #8. Nice steal right there. Good pass from Nazi up ahead to Damon Harge. Damon Harge with the 2. Nice finish there in traffic for the point guard.
I'm used to being courtside, Mike. I'm having a little trouble seeing these numbers, but I'm going to do the best I can. I'll tell you what, if you call out the names, I'll certainly know what I'm talking about, I hope.
No, absolutely. Tell me a little bit. I know Ethan Henderson played Arkansas Hawks this year. He plays alongside a very, very talented guy in Reggie Perry. Ethan Henderson obviously has had, there he is with the dunk, one-handed dunk.
Right on cue.
Is very impressive athlete. I have seen him just about hit his head 2 or 3 times on the rim this weekend. You know, you can tell he's got a different level that he still needs to work on and extending his jump shot. But what are your thoughts on this weekend?
Yeah, just an athletic, bouncy kind of stretch 4 guy. He can face up, he can attack out of the high post, he can pass out of the high post. Just extremely versatile. You can even see him guard the pick and pop some, and like you said, just bouncy. You know, look how he attacks the rim.
Wow.
He runs rim to rim. He's got a lot, very, very improved motor. You know, if I've learned one thing about Ethan Henderson this weekend, he's one of the younger guys here. So you know, that's a starting point. And then the second thing I would say is, you know, again, the motor has been turned up since our last evaluation. He's headed to Parkview High School this fall in Little Rock, one of the better programs in that area.
Still right there.
And here's Henderson on the break, maybe.
Maybe we need to talk about guys more often, man. He's rolled off 6 points since we started talking about the kid.
His ears are burning a little bit right now, probably.
Here's Cam Reddish bringing the ball up, number 5. Nazi Reed, active, getting up a lot of shots. Nice spin move.
And again, you know, you can just see how the game's changing. There's not a lot of true centers out here. You know, you can think about Vanover being 7-1 and facing the basket. It just shows the, you know, the open court, the transition, the style that these guys like to play. They like to get up and down, and we're seeing a lot more skill from the big guys here. And again, that's reflected in the game here.
It is. I mean, obviously, Connor Vanover just shot a 3 out of the corner. Not sure the last time I've seen that from a 7-2 guy. But again, his jump shot, I feel very comfortable with him taking that, or any type of shooting guard out there this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And another player to mention, too, that's been very impressive when we talk about big guys and maybe more of a true down-low bruiser who knows exactly who he is. That's Cartier Gordon. He's wearing 3 in black, and he'll be out there shortly, I'm sure. But you know, to watch him operate this week has been really impressive. He had a great year with Southwest Illinois Jets. Actually played for Troy Griffin on the circuit, who had Brad Beal all the way up. So the guy that's been there before, he knows what it takes to get to the highest level. Obviously, Brad now with the Wizards. So when you've got that type of mentor pushing you and telling you what you need to do in terms of reaching the next level, makes it that much more achievable. And Cartier is certainly on his way. And you know, a lot of these guys are in that pool of talent that will be pulled for the USA Basketball U16 team this fall.
Simi Shitu with the nice offensive rebound put back right there. You know, just to mention about Cartier, it was funny as we approached AAU Nationals this last year, one name that everybody came away with was his. And just the impressive national championship, you know, run that they put together at AAU's this past weekend, or this past month. Did a great job. He's one of the guys that go back to basket bruisers, you know, multiple kind of combination moves, but he looks for contact. There's not too many bigs like that around.
Loves contact, embraces contact. And you know, when you talk about big guys being around the rim and in the lane, you talk about extending and making yourself longer, right? And Cartier, a lot of these big guys tend to, you know, act like guards, and they go up and they kind of curl and change their shot. Cartier likes to body you, get into you, and extends fully, and he draws a lot of fouls for that reason. And I think you're going to see his production stay steady across high school. You know, he's developing a back-to-the-basket skill set, but the fact, big dunk there, talking about athleticism from Nazi Reed. But Cartier Gordon's a guy that I think you're going to see a lot of production out of at the high school level, and that second group set to check in here, and he'll lead the black group onto the floor, number 3 there.
Yeah, the score is 60 for the home team, 55 for the guests. You know, one guy that really came out of, you know, the other side of the country, literally, this weekend is Kamaka Hepa.
That's right.
Out of Alaska.
That's right.
Made the long trek to the CP3 Rising Stars National Camp. The kid, I saw him multiple games make 4 or 5 threes. He's not afraid of contact down low. He's got the soft touch, but he's more of a stretch 4 man. You know, again, you wouldn't find too many bigs like this back in the day, but he can almost put it on the deck just like a guard.
Every once in a while, Alaska will turn one out. Carlos Boozer, Trajan Langdon will do Kevitt's next recruit, and Kamaka Hepa. I'll tell you what, he's that type of versatile guy that a lot of these high major schools covet. And I think I had a coach yesterday tell me, he said, you'd like to know he finally missed. So at one point, I know he was 19 for 26 from the field in his first few games. So about as impressive a shooting outing we've had in 2 years here from a stretch 4-man in Kamaka Hepa. And again, a guy that was on very few radars coming into the event. He's certainly on the national radar now, obviously. And that's a name that's here to stay and earned his way into the dunk dog game.
You're right. Nice pass there from Robert Woodard over to Atiba Taylor.
These guys still competing. They are gassed after a weekend of basketball. 8-8 Saturday, 8-8 as we approach that time tonight. Most of these guys with some bad weather problems coming in. Some of them didn't get here till 4 a.m. on Saturday, and here we are, you know, third quarter, competing to the last possession. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, you know, as Chris has talked about, you know, he just wants to create an environment that these kids understand just how college ready they need to be. And they're going on their 8th game right now, not to mention all the drill play and running we've had them do this weekend. But again, this isn't a camp for the soft kids. This is a kid, you know, a group that has to come in, have to work hard throughout the weekend, pay the price. But it just goes back to the type of competition that these kids have brought every single game. It's been impressive to watch.
I'm certainly proud. We're all proud of these top 20 guys. You know, this is something they've earned. But I'll say there are some, you know, perhaps some notable names that did not attend camp, and some guys that should have gotten an opportunity that for whatever reason didn't make the trip. And those guys, you know, you really feel for them. They're definitely missing out. This is a great way to end the summer, to really see where your class stacks up in the high school. And like we said, just a culmination of all the achievements at the middle school level. So, you know, those guys, again, some of the guys that aren't here, I know they're probably watching right now. And you just hope that the similar opportunities come to him down the road.
Spencer, this is a celebration. It's one thing to have the CP3 Rising Stars National Camp. It's another thing to have the Dunk Dog All-American game associated with it. To have all the best players, in their class come together one last time before they go into high school, with all the Jordan gear that we've given these kids, some of the charter buses that we're sending them around on. I mean, it's first class, and, no better way to cap this off with their class in the Dunk Dog All-American game.
Sure, and I had a younger parent. Obviously the 2019 class will be our focal point next year. So we didn't really spend too much time with these guys this year, and I know your staff did a lot of work on that. But I had a parent call me and ask me from the 2019 class, tell me a little bit about CP3 Rising Stars, and I just summed it up. I said, it's not really so much of a camp as it is an event, and I think that's something that you guys try to instill and create for everybody. And kudos on another year, well done. And obviously, as kind of head dunk dog, we're proud to be here and like it.
We appreciate that, man. Here's the Atiba Taylor, number 7, with the ball up top. Emmett Williams maybe a little bit out of his position right here.
Yeah, I think what he's trying to do is take advantage of Muhammad Abdul Salam as he loses the rebound there. But, again, we're talking about Muhammad a little bit earlier and kind of got cut off there, 0 and black. He's headed to Green Forest High School this year, and they're bringing a ton of foreign players from overseas, from the continent of Africa. And Muhammad's a bright young man, got to spend some time with him. Very charismatic guy, and he just was absolutely dominant in Georgia United's run to a back-to-back title and a huge addition. It's funny, we talk about the guys teams add to kind of stay in contention every year, and he was the piece that really Georgia United added to solidify their title hopes.
Cartier, number 3 in black, with a nice dunk right there, two-handed slam. You're right. Muhammad, everyone calls him Mo. His development over the past 6 months has been incredible. Coach T has just done a tremendous job just keeping him around the basket, right, left hand, teaching him that he's got to go inside out first, obviously, and development of his game. They've also got a 7-footer that they just brought in, Zuby Samuels, which will be interesting, for Georgia United as they try to make another run whenever you put those two bigs alongside each other.
Yeah, Zuby, again, an unknown that came into camp, made the top 40 game, 7-footer, as you said, and front line at Green Forest just keeps growing and growing. I think they're going to have to field 2 teams this year to accommodate all that talent they've got down there.
Yeah, that's the end of the third quarter. Holmes up 66-65. You think we're headed for another overtime here?
I would love it. Competitive atmosphere. I don't know. You can go back in the history books and look at Jordan game and McDonald's game and some of these other All-American games and see how many began with 2 overtime games. And again, that just, that speaks to the competitiveness that is created by a weekend like this at CP3 Rising Stars. And, it starts with you, and it started on the court this weekend with Sundance Wicks, who leads the charge for you guys on the floor from the developmental standpoint. Again, I was just blown away with his energy and knowledge and just his ability to share with the kid, and then come to find out he had a birthday this weekend, and he's on the court with these guys. Just amazing. Giving back.
It was funny, his response. There's no other place he'd rather be on his birthday than at CP3 Rising Stars in the gym with these guys. A guy's passionate about life, passionate about basketball, and the amount of lives that he's changed and people that reach out to me, parents, kids, just saying how much of a lasting impression that Sundance Wicks left on their life from the CP3 Rising Stars camp. It's for us, it's worth even putting this on, man. It's just a tremendous human being.
The entire coaching staff, you think about his partner in crime, Jeff Becker, who came in and ran a character session for these guys this weekend. And, coaching the game right now, you've got Kiefer Langley, who won the 7th grade championship. He's been around basketball, played at the Division I level. Just a lot of high-level coaches at this event, too, and I'm sure that's something that's not done by accident.
Not at all. Now rolling into the fourth quarter here, Spencer, who do you think is going to step up as this game gets a little bit tighter down the stretch? Who are you expecting to, come to the forefront, demand the ball, and go to work?
20 guys. I think you're setting me up there, but you really
no
can't
pressure.
You can't prick wrong. They started the quarter off with the ball in the hands of Javon Quinterly, and I think that's a good place for it to start. He's a tested guy. He's seasoned. The competition's obviously something he's used to, and again, guard play dominates this level, and we've got 4 or 5 good ones at the lead guard position on the floor. It'll be interesting to see who wins the battle tonight.
We do. Here's Damon Harsh with the ball in the left wing. Nazi with the high screen. Damon can turn the quarter better than anybody.
There's that quick twitch, that fast twitch we talk about one of the best first steps in camp. And, you know, again, for Damon, it's just about understanding his strengths and weaknesses and his progression at the varsity level. You know, he looked like a seasoned guy, and I think a lot of his improvements, great extra pass there for Ethan Henderson. I think a lot of Harge's improvements came by way of playing varsity. You know, a lot of these guys entering middle school, they're not eligible to play varsity basketball, and, you know, he looks like he's been coached and has really improved in the last year after a year of varsity basketball.
Yeah, no, he lives in the lane. You'd love to see him kick it just a little bit more whenever he gets in there, but a guy that he just lives by paint touches. You know, normally he can draw the big and dish it, but like you said, just the ability for him to get in and out of his moves and the explosion that he has. And his jump shot, I tell you what, has actually been pretty on point this weekend.
Again, I haven't been harder on many players than Damon Harge. You know, I thought he really, that Each One Teach One program didn't do too hot at 8th grade nationals, and this has been a tremendous bounce back weekend for him. And, you know, again, for a guy who has a target on his back, I think that speaks the fact that he showed up, the fact that he came to camp, he wanted to compete, and he felt like he had something to prove, and then he went out and did it. I mean, that's a lot to ask for a guy, again, who's just going into 9th grade. So, again, you know, you learn something about these guys every time you watch them, and we learned a lot about Damon Harge this weekend.
You do, a guy that has never ran from competition, you know, one to come here, one to prove, you know, what all the hype was about. I think he's done that, but just love to see a guy come out like that whenever he's got that target, like you said, and everybody coming at him every single game. And he's actually come out here and done a terrific job and handled it extremely well. Absolutely,
and again, the environment kind of contributes to that. These guys are competitive, and, you know, I mean, from the signage to the registration, it's just a first-class event. And is the winning team going to get to take home that center court logo tonight, Mike, or what?
If they can get it up, they can take it home.
Oh, man, but again, just a beautiful environment out here, and again, contributes to the competitive atmosphere this weekend.
Nice one pass. Nice job from Nazi. Great finish by Cam Reddish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Luther Muhammad is a guy that's been extremely versatile this weekend. I saw him guarding the post a few times. He's brought the ball up. Saw him playing the wing, knocking down a few jumpers as well. Just a guy that's handles have improved a tremendous amount since last year.
I'll tell you what, it starts for Luther on the defensive end. I mean, he is an absolute intimidator. He sits down, he guards. Not only does he move his feet, but he gets long and wide, very disruptive with his hands on the defensive end. The two best stoppers in the 2018 class that I've seen are Luther Muhammad and Will Dillard, and they're both here. They're both in the game, and they're both on the same team. So that may bode well for this black team down the stretch tonight with those two guys, you know, on that roster. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, again, you talk about Luther, Will Dillard, all these stoppers. I haven't seen as much defensive intensity to camp before. You know, I think you said something earlier to the camp that you had 5 charges taken in that last session of games. Where does that come from? I mean, it's hard to pinpoint the intensity from the defensive end, but these guys are just so competitive. They're fired up to guard each other.
They are. You know, a lot of it, these guys are just self-motivators. You know, they come in this type of environment. They want to give their body up for their teammates, and our coaches just do a terrific job of challenging them. You know, not setting up the normal camp settings and letting guys just get out there and play. You know, really making them accountable to their teammates, making sure they're being unselfish and laying their body on the line. And it kind of catches on, man. It's like a wildfire. Once one guy does it, a ton of guys are willing to lay it out.
Absolutely. And defense was the cool thing to do here this weekend, no doubt about it. And it picked up as the weekend went along. And I've never been a part of a 48 hours that flies by so quickly.
It's been a terrific weekend. Here's a few substitutions. It looks like Jonathan Kabongo coming back in the game. Robert Woodard going out.
Open substitution in the 4th quarter. So these last 5 minutes, you best believe that these guys are willing to win. They want to win, and they're going to sub to win.
You don't think these coaches are going to be competitive, all do you?
Tarek Maywood and Kiefer Langley do not like the word lose. And again, goes back to kind of the competitiveness of the camp. It's all over the place, and you can see coaches getting into it on the sideline. This is their national championship to them.
Great drive there by Luther Muhammad, number 6 in black. You know, he just does a great job of extending the ball so, you know, it doesn't get blocked, and got the foul right there in the 2 points.
There he is again, big-time shot there. Been very, very impressed with Woodard and Kelly both this weekend, and I think, you know, that's a guy we haven't spoken a lot about, and a guy that played his way into camp, Harrison Butler. He's from Huntington Beach, California. He's a guy we hadn't mentioned yet, 6 in white there. Was a part of camp last year.
He was.
And played with the I-10 Celtics, moved over to Compton Magic this year, and had a great summer playing up. And he's headed to Mater Dei. He'll play for Gary McKnight. Obviously, say no more about Mater Dei, right? I mean, that's a nationally renowned program. So Butler's a guy to watch out for on the West Coast, 100%. And again, rewarded with a strong weekend here by being a part of the Dunk Dog All-American game.
Nice finish by Luther Muhammad right there. You're exactly right. You know, he comes out here after a 5-6 hour flight, and it looks like he's not missing a beat on the East Coast. Great pull-up. There he is again.
A couple of back-to-back buckets from Butler. And he's a guy that can really get it going. You know, we've watched him throughout the years kind of grow. Right now, he's a legitimate 6'4", if not 6'5", and if he continues to progress, he's going to look like a 6'6" guy. Great build, can do a lot on the perimeter. Doesn't shoot it quite as well as say a Jabari Bird, but has that type of explosiveness, starting to gain some athleticism in his game. And again, Harrison Butler, a guy that's very, very underrated. And you know, now that we talk about it, if Robert Woodard's a surprise, Butler may have been the guy who was kind of teetering as an unknown or known to some, and he's really blown up. I mean, I think I would go Harrison Butler for the unknown guy that's impressed us the most this weekend.
No, I'd agree. I definitely would agree. Great bucket, by the way, back there by Quinterly. He just does a terrific job of reading the screens.
Just a closer, you know, and I think that's what you want in a point guard. You want a guy that's better in the last 2 minutes. And, you know, Quinterly said when they were changing the locker room, everybody was asking, who's starting? Quinterly said he wanted to finish. So there you go.
Wow.
I mean, he wanted to be in the game the last 2 minutes of the game. He didn't care who started, and that sums up exactly what he is as a player in a nutshell.
It does. Another rebound for Nazi Reed. I can't wait to see the final stats here, but I tell you what, it seems like he's already got a double-double. And while he's acting like the point guard right here as well. So you just never know which role you're going to get from Nazi Reed.
And Nazi is an open personality. You know, he's a guy that as he learns to filter his emotions, when he's, again, focused, we talked about it earlier, he is 100% one of the most dominant players in the country in the 2018 class. And there's Hepa underneath. You know, that's something, again, as he gets stronger, a versatile guy that can take you block to block, high post. He's going to be a tremendous player, and fun to have Alaska represented here in North Carolina for the Dunk Dog All-American game.
It is. I told everyone last year whenever we didn't have Alaska represented that we would find a kid. I didn't know I'd find a 6'7" kid that could shoot it like he can. That's even a better kid, man. I tell you what, just yes sir, no sir every single time. He'll do anything you ask him to do.
Well, you need that kid from Wyoming. I did my research. I did my research. In 2 years, Wyoming's the only state that you don't have represented. I loved MJ Shaver from Hawaii last year. Obviously moved to Arizona and had a great freshman year. St. Mary's, where he was one of the leading scorers in the state as a freshman. So I'm hoping that you get a Wyoming next year, because if you can pull all 50 states in 3 years, that's quite a task. That's impressive.
Yeah, we might have to send a scout out there to see if there's any basketball games going on first before I can speak to that. But
take a long, hard look at Wyoming for sure at next year. And again, Gordon on the break just misses the layup there. And Black keeping it close, though, you know, down 4, and that would have been a big bucket for them to keep this thing close as we come up on this last minute. Oh, wow. Caught the worst end of that. Big dunk there.
Emmett Williams, number 2 in white.
He's just shown tremendous athleticism. He's getting more aggressive, and you know, he's a guy, again, going to bring a lot of attention to the Fort Myers area over the next 4 years.
He is. We're coming up on the close of the fourth quarter here. Spencer, I got to thank you, man. One, for just putting on this fantastic event. Again, couldn't think of a better place, a better time to have a great partnership and provide for these kids. It's just this tremendous opportunity.
And we appreciate you guys bringing us in. You know, for Scythe Country Day, I got to tell you, I've been to a lot of facilities throughout the country, and Forsyth Country Day's got one of the best facilities in the entire country.
They do.
Sure, so.
They do. This is one of the only times you'll see us shoot 1-and-1 in a camp setting.
Absolutely. Under a minute to go. You know, 2-possession game here, and so we're going to shoot it up. And again, you saw Quinterly earlier, understanding the situation, trying to exploit the mismatch, and it's just been a great weekend. I don't know if we're headed to overtime here or not, but it's been a great game.
Definitely has. Here's Will Dillard at the line. His overall form has improved for last year. He's still, got to make shots at a higher volume, but he's getting better rotation on the ball, a little better lift on it. So as he continues to evolve that part of his game, you know, combined with his athleticism, this is going to be a scary guy coming up out of Greensboro, North Carolina.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how much he grows. You know, Greensboro turns out one every now and again, too. You think about P.J. Harrison, who just got drafted by the Hornets, Greensboro native. Brennan Haywood, a longtime NBA player. Greensboro native, and a team here, Bob McAdoo, throwing it back, another Greensboro native. So 7-point lead now with about 20 seconds to go, but you're absolutely right. Dillard's going to be a player. I want to see how he works on his handle.
Pull-up 3 from Dillard.
Another big jump shot there right on cue. So Dillard is definitely going to be a great player. People say, can he translate to the point guard. I don't know that he does that necessarily, but he's going to be a great combo guard. And again, as he develops his handle, who knows? Rodney Purvis with a little bit better jump shot, I think is a fair comparison if you look at his body type, his size, his athleticism. People watching at home that were familiar with Purvis out of Raleigh, North Carolina a couple years ago, you see a very similar player in terms of style with Dillard right now.
You can take a tweener like that whenever he plays defense that hard. I will take a guy like that all day of the week.
Absolutely. When guys guard, that's it right there. So big shot coming up from Naz Reid, and he hits the front end. Going to give these guys a chance maybe here with 10 seconds left, still a two-possession game.
I'm not sure if they know the time of possession right now, but I think they're still trying to pad some stats.
Yeah, exactly.
Gordon with the final two.
That'll do it for us in North Carolina with the black team losing 85-83. Great weekend of basketball, Mike, and thanks to Marcus Burnett and the SU vehicle for having us here. Loved it, guys. SUV, thank you guys so much, and we'll be back hopefully in 2015 for another great camp and great year.
Great weekend. Appreciate it, Dunk Dog. Thanks tons, SUV vehicle. Thanks again, guys. Dude, we got to go get the MVP to someone. Thank you, guys.